me being an avid stoner and going to Japan, I wanted to smoke out there. There were multiple occasions where I wanted to smoke some bud real quick. You feel me? What? But they take weed so serious in Japan. And the last thing I'm trying to do is for 10 minutes of smoking a blunt real quick and for that quick dopamine hit, you know, that satisfaction, I end up, you know, I get caught by the police and they want to give me some years in a foreign country that I'm not from, that I do not speak the native language. Absolutely not. Y'all are tweaking. You got me fucked up.
I'm amazing. Told me ice. You asked what I'm shipping on. Plenty of ice.
All right. Well, as of 2 hours ago, Bonnie Blue has been arrested. Where was she arrested again? She was arrested in Bali. I don't know what this is about, but we about to see what's going on.
Pornographic content creator Bonnie Blue was arrested in Bali for, yep, you guessed it, allegedly making explicit adult material, and in Indonesia that is a serious offense. And if the reporting is correct, she could now be looking at 15 years in jail. We're going to try to make sense of the situation and the potential consequences with an international law attorney. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
I ain't gonna lie, that's pretty crazy. You went out there going to do the same thing you do everywhere else. I don't know where she's from. I think she's somewhere from Europe, England, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, you can't do shit like that everywhere. Like, don't try that in, like, I don't know, Saudi Arabia or something. Like, you know, there's certain places you should just don't try that. Don't do that, you know? I think it'd be intelligent of you to look into the laws and what is legal and illegal in whatever country that you're entering. You know, if you're foreign to this country and you don't know the laws, you should probably look into that before you go there and do anything willy-nilly without having done the prior research, you know? That's how a lot of people get jammed up, bro. They go to these other countries thinking that everything is sweet like it is back home, that they can get away with the things that they get away with back home, whether it's in America, England, wherever you're from. You may know the laws of the land where you live, but that doesn't mean you know it in other areas of the world. The world is a big place, you know? I think that's pretty dumb. I ain't gonna lie, but let's see what's going on.
All right, look, before we go any further into this, I don't want to talk about this, but I have to. It's happening.
I'm the girl that rage baits, the one that takes your son's virginity and has no issue making your husband cheat.
But it's so annoying, like I have a shower, makeup, hair, and then it's within minutes, like completely destroyed. I've just been the players, got a very red eye.
Bonnie Blue, real name Tia Billinger, 26 years old.
Tia Billinger. I never knew your first and last name. Tia Billinger. Interesting. Man. She does some things for the camera, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
British pornographic performer, content creator. She is in a lot of hot water right now overseas because she was arrested in Bali for allegedly making adult material. And let me tell you, that is a big no-no out in Indonesia. Right now, it's being reported that violating
See, this is news to me. I had no idea that you couldn't go out there to Indonesia and do, you know, this type of activity. Not that I had any intentions or plans to do so, but bro, like, you can't just do whatever you want, wherever you want. You got to know what's up. You got to know what the laws are where you live. I mean, aside from where you live, where you are. For example, in 2018, I went to Japan, right? I am personally an avid stoner. I really am. You know, wake and bake is a regular activity for me. So, with me being an avid stoner and going to Japan, I wanted to smoke out there. There were multiple occasions where I wanted to smoke some bud real quick. You feel me? But they take weed so fucking serious in Japan. And the last thing I'm trying to do is for 10 minutes of smoking a blunt real quick and for that quick dopamine hit, you know, that satisfaction, I end up, you know, I get caught by the police and they want to give me some years in a foreign country that I'm not from, that I do not speak the native language. Absolutely not. Y'all are tweaking. You got me fucked up. I ain't doing that. So for the people that go to other countries, other lands, and try to just do whatever they want, whether aware or unaware of the laws there, I think it's fully on you, bro. You got to be aware. We're all adults here, right? Unless you're an 18-year-old kid who just got his passport and is trying to figure out life and is traveling and doesn't know nothing, you should know better. You're a grown adult. You're a grown-ass woman. You should know better. Just saying.
Tell you, that is a big no-no out in Indonesia. Right now, it's being reported that violating anti-porn laws there could get you locked up potentially for 15 years in jail and hit with a fine of about 6 billion rupiah. That's around $360,000. Now, what exactly is she accused of doing? Driving around in a truck labeled, sorry to say this, bang bus, and picking up young men allegedly to create pornographic material. In fact, she appeared to post herself.
That's a bad look, bro. It's a very bad look. Like, I ain't gonna lie, man. She's a gorgeous woman. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I usually am not into white women. That's not usually my forte. You know what I mean? But this is a gorgeous woman. You can't deny a gorgeous woman when you see one, regardless of whatever you're attracted to. She's beautiful. But the line of work she's chosen to go into is absolutely atrocious. Yeah, and now she's doing wild shit in other countries, and she got jammed up, man. It's looking a little spooky for shorty, I ain't gonna lie.
On that truck on social media.
Hey parents, remember when I said I was going to pick your sons up? I wasn't lying. Hi boys!
Now, according to reporting from The Sun and Australian news.
See, my thing is, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'd be a little embarrassed, not even a little, I'd be a lot embarrassed if, I mean, I guess she chose this path, so it's probably not embarrassing to her, but it should be embarrassing that these young kids, I don't think any kid in that car or that truck was any older than like 14, 15, 16 maybe, 17 at best. And the only reason they know you and you have all this notoriety is because you are a corn star. And it's like, yo, bro, that's what these kids know you for? And you just there smiling cheek to cheek all willy-nilly, just like, man, I don't know. To each his own, but shit.
News outlet 9 News, 17 men, mostly from Australia and Blue, were arrested by authorities as part of a raid on her studio. Now, while it's being reported that 14 young men were released, Blue was apparently kept in custody, as well as 2 other British men and 1 other Australian guy. But it was also reported that the 14 Australian tourists, they were hiding their faces from the cameras when they were caught. Like, they put their T-shirts on their faces, and they were already interviewed by Indonesian authorities. Now, news.com.au is reporting that Bonnie Blue was released from police custody, but would be questioned by authorities over the next 2 days by immigration officials. So it seems the immigration officials and law enforcement work hand in hand. Again, this is all over allegedly making explicit pornographic materials. And according to The Sun, Indonesia bans the production and distribution of this kind of adult content, particularly if it involves children, although to be clear, there is no evidence that any minors were involved in any of this. Now, according to The Independent, police said that Blue's group were allegedly creating, quote, content containing pornographic or immoral elements. And according to the Badung police chief, who we're going to talk about a little bit more, came out and said it is suspected that the place was used by the alleged perpetrator to produce pornographic videos. What does that mean? Well, according to The Sun and the Daily Mail, police found a lot. By the way, this was interesting too. Apparently her Instagram account was seized by authorities too, because again, she is accused of soliciting teenagers over the age of 18 into filming these sex acts. And you have to wonder if it was videos like this that could be analyzed to be an issue for her.
Hey boys, tomorrow I want to ask you one question when you see the bang bus. Spend 2 minutes with me alone or double it and pass it on.
She also apparently said in another post, quote, hey boys, those who are going to schoolies and those that are barely legal cannot wait to meet you. I'm in Bali, so you know exactly what that means.
That is crazy, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what the legal system is like in Indonesia, but this is very self-incriminating, you know? A lot of people, bro, the worst thing that happened to them was giving them a phone. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, it's crazy. So many people just snitch on themselves You know, she probably went out there, had no idea what the laws were, did whatever she wanted to do, got caught for it. And prior to doing those things, she had recorded videos of herself, basically self-incriminating. And you're going to have a very difficult time trying to fight this in court. I don't know what the legal system and the court system is like out there, but I have basic understanding. And if it's anything like the American court system, or, you know, somewhat similar, obviously not identical, but if it's anything similar, wouldn't be too difficult to, you know, put the nail in the coffin at that point.
Going back to the police chief here, the Badung police chief, Arif Batubara, told the media that the arrest came after someone alerted them about, quote, suspected pornography or the creation of indecent video material. Batubara told reporters that Blue was passed off to the immigration officials, that her passport was seized. Apparently, she was here on a tourist visa. There was an immigration source that told The Sun, quote, we will be deepening the investigation to check her activity during her time in Bali and work jointly with police. And regarding the other 3 men that were also detained with her, if they did not make commercial content, maybe that's not a problem. If they make commercial content, we could charge them. This is again according to this immigration source who added,
but of course it's for commercial reasons. That's why she does this. Like, let's be real. This is her job. This is her career. This is how she makes active income. You know? So it's like, of course it's for commercial reasons. We can't even pretend like it's not.
Also check whether it has created unrest in the community or not. So the laws over there are very, very different from what we have here. And according to the Daily Mail, authorities also say there's a problem with the bus, that the bus was not legal because it was registered as being white in color, but was repainted dark blue. And apparently the vehicle tax expired as well. As for the 14 men that were released, Batubara said, according to the Daily Mail, quote, today, with assistance from immigration, we are releasing the 14 Australians who were detained yesterday for clarification and investigative purposes as witnesses. They are being released because they do not meet the criteria for further suspicion, as the case is still under investigation. But I mean, it looks like Bonnie Blue is in some trouble here, right? And to give you an idea of what we're talking about, how serious it is, and again, I'm going to bring on an international law attorney in a minute who has been to Bali, knows the laws there, can give us a sense about how serious this is. The South China Morning Post reported in an article last year that Bali took this very aggressive initiative against indecent acts, that there was 157 foreigners who were kicked out of the island for doing things. You have 194 people that were temporarily held at an immigration center who were waiting to be deported. So they have taken a very aggressive stance against indecent acts and activity.
That's crazy. I didn't know that they were, you know, cracking down on that specifically so hard out there. But then that would subsequently, you know, make sense with what she's going through right now with, you know, her activities while in Bali.
And things of that nature. Now, I should also mention that Bonnie Blue is no stranger to controversy with the legal system. She was apparently banned from Australia last year after she allegedly planned to create pornographic content with 18-year-olds and make money off of it by posting online. And because she applied for a standard visitor tourist visa, and when on that, you can't engage in paid work or commercial activity.
Yeah, so we know that this is for commercial reasons, commercial purposes. She's trying to monetize this content that she's creating. She obviously did this in Australia, which is what he's talking about right now. You know, this is a repetitive pattern for her at this point. So, yeah, if I'm Indonesia's legal system, I'm going to see the videos of you self-incriminating. I'm going to see that you have had past legal issues in other countries and other continents for similar activities. So at that point, it's not very difficult to you know, put together what you was doing out here and charge you accordingly. I don't think it's looking pretty good for her. I ain't gonna lie. It's not looking good.
Her visa was apparently canceled before she even entered the country because of what she was promoting. There was even a change.org petition, by the way, that got thousands of signatures begging the Australian government to not let her come in. She was also accused, by the way, of faking her own arrest out in the UK, that it was a publicity stunt. And something else making the waves is that Bonnie Blue's former collaborator, OnlyFans influencer, Annie Knight, has spoken up. She spoke to Us Weekly and said, quote, "In my industry, anytime you go overseas, you have to be aware of the laws surrounding sex work in the country you're visiting.
All right.
I always am super thorough with my research whenever I travel and make sure to be extra cautious. I'd never do my job in a country where my work is illegal, and I just would never risk myself like that."
Great point. She made a great point. Annie Knight, whoever you are, I don't know what you look like, I don't know who you are, but you seem very intelligent off of that statement alone, which Bonnie obviously needs to take some advice from you. Too late now, but whatever. So she's literally saying, she's like, I would never do my job in a country where my work is illegal, and I just would never risk myself like that. Again, my story, being in Japan, being a pothead, and still making the conscious decision that while I'm in Japan, where weed is extremely illegal, I'm going to refrain from smoking a blunt. You know what I mean? It's not that difficult to comprehend. We're adults. So any issues, any consequences that she is to face from this point moving forward is brought upon herself. She did it to herself. You can't blame anybody but yourself. You know? Like, it's crazy. Other people in your same field know how to move accordingly, depending on where they are. Man.
And I just would never risk myself like that. Honestly, Bonnie being arrested really didn't shock me. Bonnie went to Bali, a country where sex work is illegal, and despite knowing that, she still chose to do it and break the law.
Oh, so she knew. She knew. I don't know if these girls know each other. Obviously, they actually no. I'll correct myself. These girls do know each other. They've done content together before. So this girl knows who Bonnie is. They've probably had multiple conversations, multiple interactions, and she's probably aware of her character, right? So her explicitly saying that she went out there knowing what she was about to do was completely illegal in that country and she did it anyway, that just goes to show her level of, I don't know, like, that's just, you're narcissistic. You are very self-absorbed. You think that you are above the law. I'm sorry, but you're not. Obviously, they about to show you, you know? So, it's, yeah, man, whatever happens, happens. For every action, there is a reaction. It's just the way of the universe. What you gonna do?
Being arrested was always going to be a risk, and I did try to warn her, but she didn't listen, and now she's experiencing the repercussions.
Yep.
That being said, it must be absolutely terrifying being arrested in a different country, and I really hope she's okay.
Yeah, I'd be
And then
scared.
again, when she claimed that she tried to
gonna
warn
lie.
her,
I'd
she
be
heard
shook.
my warnings and she chose to ignore them, and it's hard to feel sorry for her. She made her bed, and now she's lying in it. Okay, so I have a ton of questions about this.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the laws over there, what the real potential consequences could be, whether or not there are any international avenues or resources that could help her out. So let's talk about it. Okay, time to bring in David Tefuri, international law attorney. Whenever you have these kind of cases, he's the perfect guest to have on. David, thank you so much for taking the time. First of all, my understanding is you have spent time there. So you have spent time in Bali. What do people not realize about the Indonesian laws? I mean, this is really, really strict. What do we not understand about their laws there?
Thanks, Jesse. Good to be on with you again. You know, Bali is in Indonesia. Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world. So across...
Oh, wow. I was not aware of that. Okay. Damn, you learn something new every day. I was not aware that Bali, Indonesia, is the biggest Muslim country in the world. I'm going to have to fact check that, but that's crazy if it is true. If it is in fact true, I did not expect that whatsoever. Indonesia, of all places, I wouldn't have even thought, you know? Just like I said earlier, if you're in Saudi Arabia and you do certain activities, you will be locked up in a foreign country. It is what it is. That's what's going to happen. And they are a Muslim nation as well. So it's interesting. I did not know this. All right. Cool.
Indonesia, there are conservative values because of its Muslim background. But Bali actually is not Muslim. Bali is
Wait.
Hindu, and it's a mix of Hinduism.
So what is it, bro? You're confusing me. Are they Muslim? Are they Hindu? Okay, let me
Across
really listen to what he's saying. I'm chatting.
Indonesia, there are conservative values because of its Muslim background. But Bali actually is not Muslim. Bali is Hindu, and it's a mix of Hinduism and traditional Balinese culture and religion. As a result,
Interesting.
Bali also is very culturally conservative, especially when it comes to public displays of affection. That is very much discouraged. When you're there, you're not supposed to kiss in public, even holding hands in public.
Word, bro. What? I had no idea. So if I took a trip out to Bali with my girl, PDA is a no-no. That's crazy. I can't kiss my own, like if I'm out there with my wife. If I have a wife and I'm out there and we just out there for, I don't know, vacation or whatever, I can't kiss my wife. That would be shunned on, looked down upon. That's crazy. Damn. All right.
For too long can be controversial. In Bali, obviously it's not illegal, but it's frowned upon.
It's not
Are
illegal,
people
but it's
though
frowned
getting
upon.
arrested
You can't kiss your wife.
for
It's
kind
frowned
of
upon.
indecent acts, whether it's something extreme like allegedly making pornographic material?
Let me not seem like I'm being insensitive to the laws. It is very foreign to me as an American. Born and raised in Brooklyn. That's a foreign thing. I ain't gonna lie. To me, you can't kiss in public. It's looked down upon. Man, come to New York City. Come take a look at what you see happening in public. It's crazy. But, respect to them. I ain't gonna disrespect their nation and their laws. It's just it's like I said, it's foreign to me. That, it's not the norm.
Or displaying certain, the way they dress or things of that nature. I mean, are people getting arrested? Are they being detained? Are they being criminally charged? Are they going to jail? Are they being deported? Explain to us.
Yes. There are previous cases where foreigners have been arrested for making pornography or distributing pornography. And keep in mind that the law that prohibits the making or distribution of pornography is an Indonesian law. So it applies across Indonesia. But in Bali, they are going to enforce that law because it comports with their traditional values.
Is she legitimately looking at 15 years in prison? I mean, 15 years in jail for something like this? If they say that she was creating, let's say, pornographic material with young men.
15 years is a long time. It's a very, very long time. I'm not gonna lie, bro. If she get locked up for a 15 piece, oh, damn.
I guess it would be even more aggravating if she was doing it for money, right? Putting it up online and monetizing it. Is she really looking at 15 years in jail?
I think she is. Now, here's a couple caveats. I think about the case of Schapelle Corby. I don't know if you remember, if your audience remembers that one, but she was an Australian woman in 2004 who went to Bali, and then they found in her boogie board she had put cannabis or marijuana. Allegedly, she denied that. And she was arrested for transporting marijuana into Indonesia, and she was sentenced to 20 years in prison. So this was a big case that got a lot of media attention. And one of the interesting things is that despite all of the media attention and
20 years is crazy. 20 years is crazy. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. They might just slap her with 15, bro. Maybe more. They already have a track record of doing that with other people, with other, tourists, whatever the case is. Like, bro. That's crazy. I don't even know what to say, guys. I do not know what to say. That's crazy, bro.
Pressure on Indonesia not to maintain such a significant sentence on her. They went through with it. And I think she spent something like 11 years in prison. She was ultimately released. But even after she was released, after 11 years or so, she actually had to stay in Bali for a few more years under probation. So I think her
Wow.
total time where she was not free to leave was something like 14 years. And so that's what Bonnie is.
Yo, imagine somebody just not somebody, but you go to a different country, you do some dumb shit, you get locked up, and they take 14 years of your life away. Damn, bro. That's crazy. And this is why I say, if I'm in a foreign country, I'm looking into the laws. Even before I get there, before I hop on the plane, before I take my ass to any other country, I'm looking into the laws. Especially if I know, okay, I'm gonna take a moment to sit and realize, okay, I'm gonna be on vacation. Let's say I'm planning a vacation. I know me, I like to smoke just for, well, everything. Watch a movie, relax, go to sleep, get work done. Like I said, I'm an avid stoner. Anyway, if I know that while I'm on vacation, I'm gonna want to smoke to relax or to do whatever, I'm gonna look into the laws of wherever I'm going to see if that would be okay. You know, maybe they do have laws against it, but in certain areas, or you know somebody, they know the ways around the law, they know how to maneuver, whatever. If you're going there as a completely foreign, like you're a complete foreigner, you know nothing about the land, you know nothing about the laws, you barely speak the language, you should tread lightly. You know what I mean? If you know somebody who's native there and they can walk with you, cool. You know, because I've implemented similar tactics. I'm not gonna snitch on myself and say when and where, but you know, if you know someone from wherever you're going, who's from there, you know, and they know what the law is like, they know where you can do certain things and get away with it and not get caught and go home with your freedom, then cool. But if you're a complete foreigner, you don't know nothing about nothing, yo, bro, don't do nothing. Just stay your ass in the clear. Do everything that's gonna keep you from getting locked up, that's gonna keep you getting home safely. Stick to that. All right.
Is facing now. It's a different crime, and pornography may get a slightly less harsh sentence than a drug crime, because drug crimes are especially frowned upon in Indonesia, and Indonesia is known to be very strict about enforcing its drug laws. But in this case, because also what she's been convicted of, or what she's been charged with, is carries such a big sentence, it is possible she could serve 14 years.
Now, to be clear, she hasn't officially been charged, but they're investigating here.
Right.
And I guess the question is, what are they looking at? So they apparently found all these materials, right, in the place where she was staying, which would look like somebody that is about to engage in sexual activities, potentially sexual activities on camera. Why are they looking at her Instagram too? Why did they seize her Instagram account?
Because if you look at her Instagram, she was putting up stories and videos from Bali where she was encouraging university students from Australia who were.
She was encouraging debauchery. And these niggas was like, oh, word? You about to do that in our country? Watch this. Yeah. 15 potential years. Gone, just like that. You know, obviously he said they haven't officially charged her, but it won't be hard to do so. They already have all the incriminating evidence. It's clip. It's quiet. Damn, bro.
We're there right now during their break, the holiday break, to meet with her and to engage in pornographic activities with her that would be filmed. She's known to do this around the world, as you know, but what was interesting is she was using social media as a way to recruit people to engage in these pornographic activities.
So her defense would have to be, we never actually engaged in any acts, or if we did engage in acts, it wasn't filmed, or if it was filmed, it wasn't commercial, like we weren't monetizing it, or is it, hey, listen, if you're filming it and you're doing this, that's it. And I wonder if that, I mean, because I'm trying to understand, I don't know anything about the laws over there, which is why I want to have you on. I mean, what are ways that she could potentially get out of this?
You're exactly right. That would be her defense, that despite what I said on social media and the provocative videos that I put up, we didn't actually engage in any pornographic activities here, and we didn't film them, and we did not distribute them, which is what the law prohibits. Now, because they've seized her vehicle and they probably searched where she was staying, they may have found those types of materials. That's not clear yet. I'm sure they're looking through her phone, looking through her video camera and other recording devices to see what she actually recorded.
By the way, so I mentioned that she was released from custody, but her passport was seized. She's transferred to the immigration authorities, who apparently work hand in hand with law enforcement here. They are going to be interrogating her, or will interrogate her, or have interrogated her for a period of 48 hours. What is going on there? What can be the product of that? Is she going to be removed from the country? I mean, how does it work?
Well, this law and also the drug laws both enable the Indonesian authorities to arrest and prosecute someone for violating the laws, or allow them to transfer them to immigration authorities so they can be deported. So her best hope is that she is deported, and she should want to be deported as soon as possible so she doesn't have to face any potential criminal charges related to violating this law. It's not clear if Indonesia is going to do that. Of course, if there's international pressure, especially from her home country, maybe they will choose to do that.
Yeah. Is there an extradition agreement in place if she were to go back to the UK? Do they have to send her back to Bali to be prosecuted? Do you know anything about that?
Well, one of the things about extradition, as you know, is you cannot extradite someone from another country if the crime that they are being extradited for is not a crime in that country. That's generally an important concept of extradition law. So if what she did allegedly in Indonesia is not a crime in the UK likely would not extradite her.
Okay.
All right. She has a little bit of leeway there. So all in all, I think she's fucked. Just to keep it a band with you. But you know, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that she is able to gather, you know, the right defense, you know, and she is able to walk out with just a slap on the wrist. Then cool, you know. I mean, the universe will balance itself out in one way or another. You know, it's just karmic debt is real. You did certain acts. There will be, you know, as above, so below. It is what it is. The universe never lies. But you know, that's best case scenario. Most likely case scenario is that they might just slap her with a, you know, if they talk in 15 years and she's able to make a decent defense for herself, they might give her 5 to 10, you know, and just try to make an example out of her primarily, which seems like is their main agenda in recent time. You know, don't come to our country doing no stupid shit, or we will make an example out of you, which I can't be mad at them for doing. You know, before you bring your shenanigans that you get away with at home over here, overseas, where you are not from. You know, we gonna make an example out of you. I can't blame them. So yeah, man. Bonnie Blue is in hot water right now. Let's see how things update. There's 8 minutes left on this video, so feel free to go check it out if you want to. Any more info that comes out, I'll keep you guys updated. But other than that, man, yeah, it's pretty much it for me. You guys have a good one. Take care. See you on the next one.